Now, a lot of students had forgotten this part and how to add radicals, and they were trying to say radical 2 plus radical 2 is radical 4, which is a very common mistake. All we're saying is how many radical 2's do we have, so 3 plus 5 is just 8 radical 2. Now, as they're the same radicals, we can combine like terms. So 1 take away 3 is negative 2, so the answer is just negative 2 radical 11. We can't add these ones together straight away because they're different radicals, but if we simplify the 50 into 25 and 2, square root of 25 is 5, times by 4 gives us 20, and now they are like terms, they're both radical 2, so how many? 6 add 20 is 26 radical 2. Same idea with 22, if we simplify first, then we can combine terms, so 3 take away 4 is negative 1 radical 3. As it's negative 1, I don't need to put the 1 there for my answer. 23, just a straightforward multiplication. Multiply like terms. 4 times 2 is 8. Radical 3 times 6 is radical 18. But then go ahead and simplify radical 18 into 9 and 2. Square root of 9 is 3. Times by 8 gives us 24. 3 times 2 is 6. Radical 20 times radical 5 is radical 100. But the square root of 100 is just 10, so 6 times 10 is 60. Now for 25, I went ahead and did this by FOIL. You might want to prefer to do this as the box method. So radical 5, radical 7, radical 20, radical 3. So when we multiply these together, we get radical 100, radical 140, radical 15, and then radical 21. And then we just add all of our answers together, which is what I did here. Some of these simplify. Square root of 100 simplifies. Square root of 140, you can take out 4 and split it up, but not a lot you can do with that answer. And that's about as good as we're probably going to get for that question. Scroll up a little bit more. Oops. So we get to our word problem. So to find the area of a rectangle, base times height. So multiply the numbers together. 6 times 3 is 18. Multiply the radicals together. Radical 10 times 2 is radical 20. And then go ahead and split up radical 20. Oops. Square root of negative 9, I'm not quite sure why this is on that question. This is actually an impossible question. If you try that on your calculator, it will say error. We can do negative cube roots, and we'll talk about those later. So for multiplication, just multiply like terms, so 18 times 4, x to the 3 times x to the 1, x to the 4 by adding exponents, and y to the 5 times y to the 3 is y to the 8. And then go ahead and split this up just like we've done before. Luckily both of these are even exponents, so it makes the question a little bit easier to do. Question 29, I just realised there's a mistake on this. If you square something, it means you multiply by itself. So actually this answer should be 21 minus 8 radical 5. So a lot of people forget that this is a FOIL question, and you just use your grid method that we discussed earlier. 50 we can split up, and square root of a squared is just a, so that one simplifies quite nicely. 31, you can just work that one out straight away. Negative, we can just leave at the start of the question. 16 we can split up as 8 and 2, and the cube root of 8 is just 2. Square root of cube root of negative 27, well, we know the cube root of 27 is 3, so the cube root of negative 27 is negative 3, and the two negatives together give me a positive. 1 cube root of 7 plus 1 cube root of 7 minus 3 cube root of 7. 1 plus 1 minus 3 is negative 1. So the answer is just negative 1 cube root of 7. And as we've done so many of these questions, I'm just going to leave you the solutions to take a look at. So pause the video, and we talked about a lot in the videos today for these types of questions.